Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhart here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome in. It's the Week 11 edition of the LL Football Roundtable, sponsored by Auto House of Lancaster. Landisville, hello, home of the Black Knights. We're here at Hempfield. Yes, they're 4-6. Yes, they're in the playoffs. They hung tough, played a great schedule, and Hempfield's gone back to the D3 6A playoffs after missing out last year. One of the reasons they're going is because of this guy. The Knights have hung their hats on their passing game, and Derek Ketch is having a great year throwing the ball for the Knights. Let's chat football. Hi, Derek. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, bud. Good to be here. You guys really hung tough. Take care of your business. You got in. I think you throw the record out. But what's it mean to hang tough and get a Week 11 and get a playoff game?
We were really fighting to come back this year, and just playing such a tough schedule. We're already playing a lot of the teams already in the playoffs, so it's like we already had a playoff schedule in the regular season.
Most, if not all, of the teams you've played are district playoff teams. Yeah. Speak to playing that schedule. You don't always win all of those games, but it's helped you here. It's gotten you in, and you guys should really be battle tested, I would think, for Friday.
Right, exactly. A lot of teams I feel like who play an easier schedule, they go to playoffs and it feels like they're playing a whole new level of football. For us, that's been, pretty much every week we've played a team that's in the playoffs right now or could make the playoffs. It's just a matter of we're used to playing this level of opponent. It's not going to be anything new for us.
Last year was not a lot of fun. Didn't make playoffs, did not have a quote-unquote Hempfield season. Mm-hmm. Now you came back this year, made playoffs, you're going to get a Week 11. Proud of that. Mm-hmm. And how were you guys able to just kind of hang in there, flush last year, and get yourself back mentally to make a playoff run?
Yeah, looking at it like across the board, nobody liked last year, obviously, as a team, so we all had the same motivation. We just need to not have that happen again. So it was a matter of working hard in the offseason, just really spending that whole time just getting ready to make a change. And, this year, I know we've had a mix of some success and some failures as far as the win and loss goes, but just as a team, we've been so much closer, just being able to fight through it, and team culture is so much better, and now we're getting ready to play a playoff game, which I couldn't be more excited for.
Speak to studying Cedar Crest defense, please. They can really swarm. Their linebackers both have like 100-plus tackles. They have like 6 plays. They can really defend in the back. As the QB, how will you study them again, and what are you looking for and where you can take advantage of on Friday?
So I'm trying to think about what we did well last game, but I know that they're well coached. They're a good team, so they're going to try to stop what we did good last game. I know they're definitely going to be keying in on Braden Charles, so just spreading the wealth and have everyone have a good game on offense and keep the turnovers to a minimum.
Hempfield on 3, 1, 2, 3. Hempfield. Let's go. And we are back in the studio from fabulous Landisville. Thanks to the folks at Hempfield for hanging with us. And this is the postseason edition of the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. I'm Mike Gross, your humble host, sort of. And to my left is Jason Guarente. To my right is Jeffrey Reinhart. These dudes cover high school football in the Lancaster Lebanon League. And I think almost everybody in the Lancaster Lebanon League has qualified for the playoffs.
I think you're right.
So we'll get to that in a minute and try to untangle that. I don't know how successful we'll be, but first we want to talk about a couple of big results at the end of the regular season. Yeah. Let's start with the Manheim Township loss, which I think most people would regard as a major upset at the hands of Wilson.
Yeah, I think I can just wrap up that game in one stat. Township had 7 personal foul, 15-yard yellow hankies.
That had to be fun to watch. In addition to
and a couple of them were like in a row where it just kind of got chippy, if I may say, and 7 personal fouls. And that caught up to him end of the day, and Coach Evans, obviously, first thing out of his mouth, undisciplined.
Yeah.
And you're not going to win those games when you get 7 personal fouls.
So maybe it's a smack in the face for them that they need going into the postseason, and they're still the number 1 seed.
They are.
And Wilson is the number 2 seed.
Yeah, they didn't slide. They stayed on the 1 line. And Evans said, we've been talking about this for 9 weeks. It's been one of our only kind of bugaboos, and you would think we would have cleaned that up by now, but we haven't.
Oh, the penalties have been
the penalties.
Okay.
And he said, you do that in a championship game and you get beat. So we better learn from this.
Jason, were you as surprised by that as most people were?
I thought Township would win, but I did see the penalty problem in other games this season. But you don't count out Wilson. I mean, look at their tradition. They're the ones that had that 50-some game winning streak in Section 1. I mean, they did this to Township in the past in the last game of the season, pulled off a surprise. I mean, that's just there's a lot of tradition there. And, we're talking about, 9-0 against 8-1. So it's not like it was some huge shock. The top two teams in 6A.
Yeah, and Wilson could have been 9-0.
Yeah.
They're driving and they fumble at the end zone late. That could have been undefeated.
You tend to fall in love with what you see, right?
Yeah.
And we saw Township win 19 straight regular season games, and you don't think they're going to lose one, but here we are.
And I had people asking me after the game, well, who'd you pick? And I said, well, Township. I said, I think everybody picked Township.
Yeah. Come
and
on.
that's,
Who did you pick?
I mean,
give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, but Wilson was great. They played really well, and the Maddox Gruber kid is like a magician back there behind center. I mean, he's running
that
around.
seems like maybe the area where they've gotten better over the course of the year.
Yeah.
He was new to it, and then now he's not.
He directs that offense really well, and they have playmakers, and they took advantage of short fields and field positions that Township pretty much gave them.
Now let's, especially with Township losing, I think for the regular season, I'm going to say the team of the year in our league is Peter Strasburg. I'm just blown away by what they did.
Might have been. They might be one, maybe with Conestoga Valley as 1A.
Well, yeah,
maybe,
that's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
If you're looking for
and
that.
Conrad Weiser, if we're
And
going to bring a
Weiser.
Berks team into it.
LS.
You guys are talking me off this ledge a little
No, that's
bit.
okay. No, but LS, I don't disagree. Yeah, because especially what they did at YO on Saturday.
In the biggest spots this year. Amazing.
Their defense was really good, and they held YO to 2 or 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
They gave them a short field on a tipped punt. Other than that, LS played great. Controlled the line of scrimmage, D'd them up. House rush for 100 and a touchdown. Brown rush for 100 and a touchdown. They hogged the ball. Fiorello kicked 2 field goals, including a 42-yarder. Yeah. So LS played great, and they survived. They were the last team standing in Section 4, and they earned it. They earned it.
There are a lot of times this year when I thought, can anybody play defense anymore? When week 1 is 71-64.
There you go.
You think to yourself,
that's your bar.
Can anyone stop anyone? And LS plays defense unlike any other team in the league. It's not just the stats, it's how fast they are, it's how hard they hit.
Yep.
It just looks different than other teams.
They close really fast. They read and react and stuff.
That's impressive because they were one of these teams that going into the season we thought, well, they got a lot of holes to fill. Well, they filled them. Holy moly, did they fill them?
Yep, they're very legit. They've been an awesome story.
Okay, let's look at districts. 6A, we have one game. Township is the 1 seed. Wilson is the 2 seed. They got a bye.
Yep.
So we have one game involving, well, we have 2 games involving our team. Cumberland Valley and Governor Mifflin. Any thoughts on that one, Ryan?
Cumberland Valley, 32nd trip to the district playoffs?
Yeah.
Wow.
They've been a factor.
It used to be hard to make the district playoffs. Once
True,
upon a
but
time.
4 teams
I
got
covered the very first big school district final, and it was
88?
Cumberland Valley against Steel High.
88?
1980. I think it was 83.
something like that.
83
Back
or
in the
84.
80s.
Anyway,
Yeah, they get Mifflin. Mustangs are 500, but they can really run the ball.
Cumberland Valley beat Harrisburg.
Cumberland Valley beat Harrisburg in week 8, which is a good
if ever
win.
there's been one.
And CV's at home and it's districts. And that winner gets Township.
Hempfield, there is a first round game. Other than that, Hempfield and Cedar Crest.
We already saw this game.
We did 2 weeks ago.
Cedar Crest won by 4. To me, the first round's not really about the district championship or advancing toward that goal. It's a chance for these teams that are maybe 500-ish. I mean, Cedar Crest is better than that, but to get back on the field, to maybe play on their home field one more time, to maybe feel the joy of a district victory. And because they're going right into Township, and we've already seen that matchup. A lot of this has been litigated already. So to me, it's not really about can this team advance all the way.
Yeah.
It's can they win this one game, have this memory, enjoy this experience, and keep playing football for as long as they can.
And this game a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly, the lead changed about 5 times. That was a very competitive game, so I don't know why it wouldn't be again.
Fun stat of the week, Hempfield's 4-6, and I actually got a couple of emails saying, how's Hempfield in districts? Strength of schedule.
Yeah,
the teams that they've lost to have won 48 games. They've lost to 4 teams that are 9-1.
Yeah.
So
Very good,
Hempfield
Ryan.
has played
Way to break it down.
they played a good schedule.
I like it.
So they're in. So hey, let them have their fun.
5A, as always, we have 100 teams playing.
101.
We have the 8th seed, Exeter. They're 9-1, and they're the 8th seed.
Yeah, how about that?
Against Southwestern. Can either of you gentlemen tell me anything about Southwestern?
That would be Jeff's territory.
Their quarterback has an 1,800-yard passer. They throw the ball around a little
that's
bit.
decent.
That seems to be their bread and butter. I thought Exeter might be a little ticked last week after losing that CV game. They scored 71 on E-Town.
Exeter being seated in this spot is bad luck for New Oxford at number 1 because you get the number
8
1
versus
seed
9.
and you're going to have to play a 9-1 team that's a quarter of an inch from being 10-0. I mean, that's not the greatest.
Literally
draw
a
in the
quarter
world.
of an inch.
Yeah.
And then we also have Shippensburg and Warwick.
Warwick got in. They beat Central 6-3 last week and got the 12th seed.
Yeah. That's the example of the team. Of course, we saw Cocalico win it from the 12th
That's the
seed,
12.
but that's the example of the team that gets in, gets to keep playing, and that's a great experience for them.
Exactly.
And then what looks to me like a pretty good matchup on paper, Cocalico and Hershey. Hershey is 7-3. They're the 10 seed. These seeds are weird in
They
5A. But anyway, Cocalico, a 7 seed.
Yes.
Pretty good 7 seed, although they did not, in the big showdowns at the end of the year, they didn't do it.
They did not. Cocalico going for the 3-peat. Horning and Meyer both over 1,000 rushing yards, which is pretty cool in 10 weeks. And the Hershey quarterback is a 1,000-yard rusher kid. So kind of mirror kind of offenses here. May the best rush D win that game.
And we have teams with byes. Number 3, Conrad Weiser. Number 4, Conestoga Valley.
And Weiser will probably get Bishop McDevitt.
Can you
next week.
talk about a terrible? You go 10-0 for the first time in 30 years almost, and you get Bishop McDevitt.
Yeah,
in the district.
and McDevitt is what, the 4 or 5 or something like that?
Five.
6. It'd be the 6-3 game.
They're the
The
6th.
5A seedings are unbelievably weird. Let's move on to 4A. 5-5 Elco against 5-5 Octorara. Now that feels like an 8 versus 9.
It does. That is exactly what you got.
Dave, so there you go. I don't know. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Rematch. They played in week 7.
Elco won the first time.
Elco won by 10. Octorara, 2nd District 3 playoff trip. Elco's been here a couple of times.
Elco seems to have played better as the years gone.
Won
They've
4
had a
out of
really
5.
good second half.
down the end.
Yeah, once they got through that ridiculous
And,
part of their schedule.
Of course, this is a strong class for our league. LS is the number 1 seed. YO is the number 2 seed. Twin Valley is the number 5 seed. So a lot of power for the LL in that. Let's move on to 3A. Throw out the record books when Littlestown and Schuylkill Valley get together. Jason.
Schuylkill Valley was impressive against Lancaster Catholic. It was close to the end, but Schuylkill Valley was, I thought, clearly the better team. Catholic couldn't stop them, and a lot of the drives that stalled were drop passes and things that if Schuylkill Valley had executed, they could have put up more than 50 points in that game.
When I looked at their resume today, they've had a better season than I realized.
I think they're the class of Section 5. I thought that was evident in that last game.
Yeah, 7-0, ran the table, won their last 7. Rematch, again, these teams met in this round last year. Schuylkill Valley won 45-21.
And we also have Biglerville, 7-3. Canners, we love to say Canners, against Berks Catholic.
Berks Catholic's won 4 in a row.
Yeah,
with
playing,
a really
again, another one, playing better.
with a dynamic offense, and their quarterback's been really good the last 4 weeks. Really good.
And then maybe the best matchup in the first round involving our teams is in AA, Lancaster Catholic and Camp Hill. Jason, go.
Catholic, coming off the loss to Schuylkill Valley, they won this first game, which I thought was probably their best win of the season,
Easily.
I would think. Brandon Way's first 2 carries against Schuylkill Valley, 94 and 65 yards. I mean, we're looking up what's the most rushing yards in a game after 2 carries. I mean, he ended up with 244 or something like that. So, I mean, he's a game breaker. He's a game changer. The line's very good, but he makes the line even better. So, I mean, that's their path to win. They're going to have to score a lot of points.
Yeah, that first game, double OT, 42-41 Catholic on a away touchdown run. Drew Brandstetter, the quarterback for Camp Hill, really good. Blue chipper kids, 7,000 passing yards. over 2,000 passing yards this year. So Catholic's got to play a really good defensive game here Friday.
So that is a good matchup. That's a 2-3 against the 3 seed. Okay, guys, a lot of stuff. Too much. Anything else for the good of the order, anybody?
I want to give a tip of the cap to Conrad Weiser coach Alan Moyer. Been there this is 23rd season, I believe, 22nd season. That's not a place you go 10-0 every year.
No.
You gotta, you have your ups and downs, you have your great teams and your not so great teams. He stuck it out for all that time, and he runs the table with this group. And I don't think anyone said Weiser was going 10-0 back in August.
True.
No.
That's a great job, and they deserve a lot of credit, especially with the tough draw they're going to have.
I think I picked them 6th.
Yeah.
Pequea Valley at Tamaqua Friday night, Eastern Conference 3A championship game. Braves, first postseason game in 26 years. Be there.
Be there or don't.
That's it.
All right, gang, that's it. We'll have much more of this stuff next week because the herd will be thinned out some, but not that much. There's still going to be a lot of teams playing high school football. Anyway, this has been the LO Football Roundtable brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. For Mike and for Jason and for Jeff, we'll see you next week.